Okay, here this is the one rod, say, or uniform rod. Then you keep that rod over the tip of the nail and you adjust the position of the tip of the nail, or you adjust the position of the rod so that at one particular point when it is kept over the nail, tip of the nail, that will be balanced so that this rod will not fall like this or like this. Then at that particular point, the rod will be balanced. This, of course, the cylinder or this marker pen will be balanced. So at that point, even we do not hold the marker pen, it will be balanced over the top of the nail. So at that time, the total mass of this cylinder or marker pen seems to be concentrated at this tip of the nail only, on the tip of the nail only, So that point where the total mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated, actually the total mass is not concentrated exactly at that point. The mass is distributed, but whenever it is balanced over this, you see here, center of mass. First, you have to discuss the definition. Center of mass. So here, suppose there is a uniform rod. There is a uniform rod. Here it is balanced over the tip of the nail. It is balanced over the tip of the nail like this. Okay. Then whenever it is balanced over the tip of the nail, this rod neither falls in this direction or falls in this direction. It will be balanced like this at this point. So at this point on the tip of the nail, the total mass at the point where the rod is balanced on the tip of the nail, at that point the total mass seems to be appeared. Actually, the mass is distributed along its length, but whenever it is balanced, the total mass appears to be at this point now. That's why such point relative to the body, or such point with respect to body, where the total mass is supposed to be concentrated, such point is called the center of mass. Okay, so the point where the total mass is supposed to be concentrated, not concentrated, supposed to be concentrated, seems to be concentrated at that point. Such point is called the center of mass. So the point relative to the body, where the point relative to the body where the total mass supposed to be concentrated, is center of mass. Okay, that is one definition of the center of mass. The point relative to the body. Okay, I will say. Okay, we can say the point relative to the body where the total mass is supposed to be concentrated is called the center of mass. One more definition, or suppose on the smooth horizontal surface, a spherical shaped body is kept. On the smooth horizontal surface, a spherical shaped body is kept. A spherical shaped body is kept on the smooth horizontal surface. A spherical shaped body is kept on the smooth horizontal surface. The center of the sphere is exactly here. Okay. Now, you see, suppose if you apply the force, on the, suppose it is the, if you apply the force on the upper top of the sphere at this point, then apply the force on the top of the sphere here. Suppose if it is rough surface, when you apply the force at the top of the sphere, then because of that, what about the sphere? Is it moving in forward direction by rotating, or directly to move without rotation in forward direction? If it is a rough surface, rolls. Suppose if it is smooth, if it is smooth, here, if it is smooth, when you apply the force on the sphere here in this direction, the entire sphere will move in forward direction without rotation. Suppose if it is the rough surface, then when you apply the force on the body in this direction, then it will, here you see, whenever the force is applied in this direction, due to that, the body try to move in forward direction. But at the same time, the friction exists here. That friction opposes the motion of the sphere. That's why whenever the entire sphere try to move in this direction, friction acts as the point of contact in this direction, and here this friction pulls the bottom surface towards left, and because of applied force, the upper surface move towards right. Due to that, the body will rotate, and at the same time, the body travel in forward direction. That means in this body, the body is having rotative motion as well as the body traveling forward direction, it is having translated motion also. Okay, so here such type of motion is called the rolling motion. Suppose if you apply the force on a body so that it is passing through center of the sphere, it is passing through center of the sphere. When you apply the force on a body passing through center of the sphere, instead of rotating, the entire sphere will travel in forward direction. Entire sphere will travel in forward direction without rotation. When you apply the force on a body so that it is passing through center of the sphere, then the entire sphere will travel in forward direction without rotation. That means it is having only translative motion. Translative motion means whenever the body travels from this position to this position, say, whenever the body travels from this position to this position, if this center is here initially, the center reaches this point. If this top point is here, top point is here. If this bottom point is here, bottom point reaches this point. So that whatever the displacement of the center of the sphere, the displacement of this point also same, the displacement of this point also same. Each and every particle in the body has same displacement whenever the body is having translative motion. In the translative motion, there is no rotation. Whenever the body undergo displacement, each and every particle is having same displacement, and all displacements are parallel to each other. Such type of motion of the body is called translatory motion. So when you apply the force on a body passing through center, when you apply the force on a body passing through center, then the entire body travel in forward direction without rotation. Such type of motion is called translative motion. So to what point in the body, when you apply the force, to what point the force applied on a body travels, our entire body is having translative motion. Such point relative to the body is called center of mass. అంటే ఈ బాడీ లోపల ఏ పాయింట్ ద్వారా పాస్ అయ్యేట్టుగా మనం ఎక్స్టర్నల్ ఫోర్స్ అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు ఈ బాడీ ఓన్లీ ట్రాన్స్లేటివ్ మోషన్ లో ఉంటుందో అటువంటి పాయింట్ ని మనం సెంటర్ ఆఫ్ మాస్ అంటాం. The point through which the force is applied on a body so that the body undergoes translative motion. Such point is called the translatory motion. Okay. Suppose here on the floor, one sphere is pushed like this. Then the sphere rolls and they travel in forward direction. Actually, different particles in the body travel different particles while rolling. While the body is rolling in forward direction, different particles rotates like this and they travel in forward direction so that different particles travel in different complex paths. Even then, in which direction we can say the body travels in that case? Okay, I will unmute you. Who is starting number of times same? I will unmute. Later I will unmute. I already have seen. Oh, number of times, so 50 times, 40 times he is started. Okay. So here, whenever the sphere is having rolling motion, suppose different particles in the rolling motion travel in different paths like this while rolling. If the roll అవుతున్నప్పుడు this particle travel like this and then travel like this. Different particles travel in different complex paths. Even then, along which path the sphere travels means we say generally straight line only. Forward direction means straight line only. That means in the sphere, even different particles travel in different complex paths or different paths when the body is having rolling motion. One point in the body or with respect to one point with respect to the body travel along the simplest straight line path. Such point with respect to the body is called the center of mass. That means whenever the different particles travel like this in different complex paths in forward direction, but the center of the sphere travel along the straight line path only. It is the simplest path. Such point relative to the body is called the center of mass. Here, in which direction center of mass travel, such direction of motion of the center of mass is the direction of motion of the entire body. That's why center of mass gives the direction of motion of the body also. The point relative to the body, which describes the motion of the entire body, that is also called as the center of mass. So, what is the center of mass means? The point relative to the body where the total mass is supposed to be concentrated, or the point through which when external force is applied, so that the body undergoes translate motion. Such point in the body is called, such point relative to the body is called center of mass, or the point relative to the body which describes the motion of the whole body, WHOLE, whole body. Such point is also called as the center of mass. So these are the three different definitions of the center of mass. Okay. Okay, I will explain, Mr. Balaji K. I will explain different examples in that ring is also there. I will explain later. Okay. I will explain different examples here so that that ring will also there. I can say ring also. Okay. Right. Who asked to unmute? Who asked me to unmute? Vamshi Krishna, no? Who asked me to unmute? Vamshi Krishna, I think. Okay, Vamshi Krishna. Vamshi Krishna.
Hello,
Vamshi
sir.
Krishna. What is your doubt?
Sir, center of mass of ship ఎలా సార్ అంటే షిప్ అన్ని చోట స్ప్రెడ్ ఉంటాయి కదా సార్ మాస్ అంతా?
No. Center mass of the ship is at the bottom of the ship. In such a way the ship is designed.
Okay.
Due to that only ship is always vertical. Even it is tilted like this, immediately come back to the original position so that it is vertical. Because while designing the ship, more mass is kept at the bottom.
Okay, sir.
Less mass is on vertical sides. Due to that, as the more mass part is at the bottom, it is always vertical. Even it is tilted like this, it come back. As toys are there, no? In case of toys, suppose the toys are there. In this way, toys are there. Then more mass is arranged at the bottom. More mass is kept at the bottom of the toy here. Even suppose if you push the toy like this and if you release them, immediately toy come back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, here because the center mass of this entire ball concentrated at the bottom. In such a way, the mass is kept here. More mass is kept at the bottom.
Okay, sir.
As the center mass here, whenever it is turned like this, the center mass try to occupy the lowest position of the ground on the ground. Lowest position on the ground. That's why again it can come back to the original position so that it becomes stable. That is the case. Even in case of ships also, more mass is at the bottom. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Center of mass of the rocket depends on the construction. We cannot say that depends on the location of the fuel chambers in the rocket. Depends on the positions of the satellites fixed in the rocket. Based on different cases, the center of mass depends because that is not the regular body. In case of regular bodies, we can say where the center of mass lies. In case of irregular bodies, we cannot say where the center of mass lies. Okay. Right. Now we have discussed the three examples of the center of mass. Now three different definitions of the center of mass. Now we have to see the example. Different examples of the center of mass. And characteristics of center of mass also. Characteristics of center of mass. characteristics of the center of mass. Okay. Characteristics of center of mass. First one. In case of any regular body having geometrical shape like sphere, yeah, Ram, Sriram, where the more mass is there, center of mass is nearer to that more mass. After my explanation, you can ask the doubts if your doubts are not clarified, because every point is there. What I want to say. Okay, so here characteristics of center of mass. Here, in case of regular bodies like sphere, cylinder, solid cylinder, next circular ring, etc., center of mass lies at the geometric center. In case of regular bodies, in case of regular bodies, in case of regular bodies, center of mass lies at geometric center. Center of mass lies at geometric center. Geometric center. Suppose if you take one example, if you take the solid sphere, center of mass lies exactly at the center. In case of solid sphere, in case of solid sphere, center of mass lies at the center. In case of hollow sphere, this is hollow sphere. It is solid sphere. It is hollow sphere. In case of hollow sphere, where the center of mass lies? In case of hollow sphere, when you apply the force on the hollow sphere so that it is passing through center, then the body has translative motion. That's why in case of hollow sphere also center of mass lies at the center only. But in case of hollow sphere, at the position of center of mass, is there any mass? In case of hollow sphere, center of mass lies at the center of this hollow sphere. At the position of the center of mass in hollow sphere, is there any mass? No. That's why at the center of mass, the mass need not be present. So mass need not be present at the center of mass of the body. Suppose if you take the circular disc, in case of circular disc means it is also having a regular shape. What is the geometric center? Geometric center means center of the disc. So in case of circular disc, the center of mass lies at the center of the disc. Where mass is there, as it is the disc, the mass is distributed uniformly entire the area. No? That's why even at the center also, even at the center of mass also mass is there. But here, if you take the ring, it is also the regular body. In case of ring, the center of mass lies at the center only, where there is no mass. Where there is no mass. That's why from these examples, it is clear that at the position of center of mass need not be present. Okay. So that is the second characteristic. At center of mass need not be present. Mass need not be present. Or it is not necessary to have any mass at the center of mass. It is not necessary to have any mass at center of mass. It is not necessary to have any mass at the center of mass. Okay. Next, third one. Suppose there is a two-particle system. There is a two-particle system. Here, these two particles are having masses m1 and m2. Do you have torque acts on the body in your previous standards, in 10th standard or 9th standard? Do you have torque acts on the body or moment of force? I think in vectors I said the moment of force or torque. In vectors I said, I think. Okay, right. You see here, suppose there are two particles having masses m1, m2. Both are joined by means of a light rigid rod, thin rod. The mass of this rod is negligible. Okay, now Whenever this rod is kept on the tip of the nail, then at one position of the nail, suppose at this point exactly, whenever the nail or tip of the nail lies exactly at this point, whenever this rod, light rod which joins the two particles having masses m1, m2, is kept exactly at this point so that the rod is balanced. The rod is horizontal means it is balanced. When it is horizontal, about this point, there is a possibility for the rod to turn like this or like this. But it is balanced. Whenever the rod is kept exactly, the nail is kept exactly at this point on the rod. So at the time we can say this system is balanced. Whenever it is balanced, you see the total distance between the two particles is say r. Whenever the rod is balanced, at that time the total mass of the two particles lies exactly at that point where the system is balanced. No? That's why it is the center of mass. The point where the system is balanced, such point is called center of mass. So exactly at this point O on the rod, center mass of the two particles lies, because center mass of the two particles lies here. Mass of the rod is negligible. Okay. Now, the center mass of the two particle system lies at a distance r1 from the first particle, at a distance r1 from the first particle, and excuse me 1 minute. Sir,
వినిపిస్తుంది సార్
sir,
శర్మ గారు
okay sir.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ చిల్డ్రన్. సో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్ టు ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ, ఎందుకంటే 10th క్లాస్ పబ్లిక్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్ అందరూ పాస్ అయ్యారు, వెరీ గుడ్. అట్లాగే కొంతమంది మన 10th క్లాస్ జాన్యువరి నుంచి మంచిగా ప్రిపేర్ అయ్యారు, పాపం లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ జాన్యువరి నుంచి.
Okay, here suppose in case of two particle system, whenever the center mass lies exactly at this point, say oh, it is not midpoint. Okay, in general it is a point where the total system is balanced or it is under equilibrium, rotational equilibrium. Rotational equilibrium means a particle does not turn in this direction or in this direction. Okay, at that time whenever it is balanced here, when the two particle system balanced at this point, at that time the center mass of the two particle system lies exactly at this point. Suppose the center mass of the system is at a distance r1 from the first particle and r2 from the second particle. Then from the diagram by geometry, we can write r is equal to r1 plus r2. No? That is equation 1. R is equal to r1 plus r2. Next, you see here actually the weight of the particle m1z acts vertically downwards direction. No? Weight of the particle m1z acts vertically downwards direction. So about this point, because of this weight m1z, in which direction this particle try to turn? About this point, here these two particles are joined by means of a light rigid rod. About this point, the system is balanced. Okay, at that time, because of this weight of this particle m1z alone, about this point, in which direction this particle try to displace? In anti-clockwise direction or clockwise direction? Suppose if it is not there, in which direction it try to move? Down in this direction. In this direction means anti-clockwise direction. In this direction is anti-clockwise direction. Because of weight of this particle, m2z. Because of weight of this particle m2z, this particle try to comes in this direction, rotates in this direction. So here, because of this weight of the particle, about this point, as the particle try to rotate like this, then this weight of the particle is said to be having ability to turn the particle about this point. Such ability is called moment of force or torque. Any force when you apply the force on a body, if that force applied on a body is having ability to turn the body, then such ability of the force apply, the ability of a force acts on a body which can produce the turning effect in a body, or which can produce the rotatory motion in a body. Such ability of the force that produces the turning effect in a body is called moment of force or torque. Moment of force or torque. Okay, that's why how we can measure the torque. Here, torque due to this force, m weight means force, and torque due to this force about this point. Because about this point, the system may turn like this or turn like this. That's why torque about this point. Of course, in rotating motion, torque concept is there in detail. Torque tau of this particle about this point O. Torque about O. Due to first part, we said tau 1, that is equal to, you see, about this point, the torque due to this force is the force acts on the particle means m1z into perpendicular distance of the force from the point about which torque is considered, means this one. This is the perpendicular distance. అంటే ఈ ఫోర్స్ పనిచేసే డైరెక్షన్ కి ఈ పాయింట్ కి మధ్య పర్పెండిక్యులర్ డిస్టెన్స్ అంటే r1 కదా, సో ఇంటూ r1. Similarly, arc of this arc acts on this particle about this point O. Tau2 is equal to tau2 symbol is equal to force or weight m2z into perpendicular distance r2. That's why m2z into r2. This torque acts on the particle, try to rotate this particle in this direction about this point. The torque acts on this particle due to this weight, try to rotate the particle in this anti-clockwise direction. Even then, about this point, these two particles does not rotate in this direction or in this direction. That's why these are said to be under rotational equilibrium. Whenever these are under rotational equilibrium, the torque due to this, the torque due to weight of this particle about this point, torque due to weight of this particle about this point, both are equal. That's why under rotational equilibrium, under rotational equilibrium, translational equilibrium means forces are equal. Rotational equilibrium, translational equilibrium means net force is 0. Rotational equilibrium means net torque is 0. Net torque 0 means torque acts on the particle in one direction is equal to torque acts on the particle in other direction. That's why tau1 is equal to tau. In vectors already I said moment of force. Moment of force or torque. Moment of force or torque means force into perpendicular distance about from the point about which the body rotates. That is called the torque. Okay. So tau1 means m1z into r1. That is equal to tau2 means m2z into r2. Z cancel. So m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. This is also very important formula. So the central mass of the two particle system always lies at a point such that it follows the condition m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. From this it is clear that if m1 is more, r1 is less. If m1 is less, r1 will be more. And if the mass of this particle is more, then as the product of mass into distance is constant, if mass is more, this distance will be less. That indicates the central mass is nearer to more mass. Somebody else asked me. The central mass nearer to more mass. Central mass is nearer to more mass. So in case of, suppose in case of a body having non-uniform distribution of the mass, where the central mass lies means where the mass distribution is more, towards that place, towards that more mass, the central mass will be shifted. Okay. So central mass always lies nearer to the more mass. That is very important. Okay. Now from this, we are given just masses m1 and m2 and distance between the two particles is given. R is given. Then what is the r1 value or what is the r2 value? What is the distance of the central mass with respect to first particle? And from the first particle at what distance central mass lies? What is the distance of central mass of the system of two particles relative to second particle? Relative to second particle అంటే second particle నుంచి central mass ఎంత distance లో ఉంటుంది అంటే r2 ఎంత? మనకి ఇచ్చింది just r m1 m2 ఇచ్చాడు. r1 r2 తెలియదు. r1 r2 we have to find. How? From these two equations. Okay, from 1 and 2. From 1 and 2. You see, we need from this, first we have to find R1. To find R1, R2 should not be there here. So from this equation 2, R2 is equal to M1 R1 by M2 we can write now. So therefore, from equation 1, R is equal to R1 plus R2. That is equal to R1 plus R2 means you write this one. M1 R1 by M2. So in these two terms, we can take R1 common. You take R1 common. 1 plus M1 by M2. Take LCM. R1 of M2 plus M1 by M2. That's why M1 plus M2 by M2 we can write now. Therefore, R1 is equal to R into M2 by M1 plus M2 we can write. It is the distance of the central mass from the first particle. Next, similarly, what is the formula for second particle? Tell me. R into, what is the formula for distance of the central mass from the second particle? Distance of central mass of the system from the second particle or relative to second particle is how much? Same. By similarly, we can write R into M1 by M1 plus M. Because from this formula, R1 value from this formula, R1 is equal to M2 R2 by M1. We substitute this R1 value in the equation here. Instead of R1, we substitute M2 R2 by M1. Then R2 is equal to something you write. Then you will get this equation. So these are the formulas for distance of the central mass from the first particle and second particle. These are the formulas for distance of the central mass from the first particle and second particle. Okay, in this way we can do. Next. So next fourth point. Third point is this one. Next fourth point. From this it is clear that where the mass is more, central mass is nearer to that mass. So central mass is always nearer to more mass. Central mass is always nearer to more mass. Okay. Next. Central mass may lie inside the material of a body or outside the material of a body. Previously, we observed the examples. In case of solid sphere, central mass lies at the center where there is a mass. In case of the hollow sphere or ring, central mass lies at the center where there is no mass. Suppose if you take the ring, central mass lies here. It is the ring. Central mass lies here where there is no mass. The mass exists only along the circumference. It lies outside the mass now. Central mass lies outside the middle of the body, but always lies within the boundary of the body. Because this mass is, the mass of the ring exists in this boundary, but always central mass lies within the boundary of the body. Similarly, in case of hollow sphere, suppose if it is hollow sphere, central mass lies at the center. Here, if the hollow sphere is there, is the central mass lies outside? No, because in case of hollow sphere, the boundary of the hollow sphere is this one. Inside the boundary of the body only central mass lies. It does not lie outside the boundary of the body. That's why the central mass always lies inside the boundary of the body, but it may not lie within the middle of your body, but it always lies within the boundary of your body. So center of mass always lies within the boundary of the system or body, within the boundary or system of your body, within the boundary or system. Okay. Next, all Newton's laws of motion are applicable to the center of mass only, because even the size of the body is more, as the total mass of the body is supposed to be at the center of mass. At the center of mass, we can apply the Newton's laws of motion. So Newton's laws Newton's laws can be applied to center of mass. Here, the position of the center of mass depends on where the center of mass of the body lies. That depends on the distribution of the mass of the body. For example, you see, it is the rod having uniform rod. That means the mass per unit length of the rod remains same at any point. And where the center of mass of this rod lies, tell me, where the center of mass of the rod lies. In case of a uniform rod of uniform mass distribution, center of mass lies exactly at the midpoint. Suppose if it is not having uniform mass distribution, the mass gradually increases when we move from, suppose this is the body. This is the body. Here, when you move from left to right, the mass gradually increases. So where the center of mass lies, is it lies exactly at the midpoint? Is it lies exactly at the midpoint? No. As mass on right side is more, the center of mass shift towards right. That means the center of mass, that means here as the distribution of mass is more towards right, the center of mass shift towards the more mass. That's why center of mass of the body depends on the mass of the particles present in the body and the distribution of mass. The distribution of mass is more here. That's why center of mass lies nearer to the more mass. That's why center of mass, position of center of mass depends on mass of the particles in the body, mass of particles, and distribution of mass. Distribution of mass మీద కూడా depend అవుతుంది. Distribution of mass. The position of center of mass depends on the distribution of mass. Okay. In case of a uniform gravitational field means you see acceleration due to gravity remains same at every point. In case of uniform, suppose here you see the uniform gravitational field means the region in which acceleration due to gravity remains same at all points. Then such type of region is called uniform gravitational field. In case of uniform gravitational field, center of mass lies exactly at the geometric center. Center of mass lies exactly at the geometric center. Okay. Center of gravity means the point where the total weight of all the particles. Weight means suppose this is a body. The body consists of number of particles. Weight of each and every part is say M1z, M2z, M3z like that. Okay. The total weight of all the particles in a body passing through certain point in the body, which is called the center of gravity of a body. Center of gravity of a body. In case of a body on which uniform gravitational field acts, center of mass and center of gravity lies at the same point. If the uniform gravitational field is not there, center of mass and center of gravity need not be lies at the same point. So that's why in case of uniform gravitational field, in uniform gravitational field, in case of uniform gravitational field, that means z value is constant. Acceleration due to gravity is constant at every point in the body. Uniform gravitational field, center of mass and center of gravity lies at the same point. In case of a body on which non-uniform gravitational field acts, the center of mass and center of gravity does not coincide. Center of mass and center of gravity does not coincide. Where there is no gravity, center of mass and where there is no gravity means there is no question of center of gravity. Where there is no gravity means there is no question of center of gravity. Only center of mass exists. Okay. Okay, Sri Ram. So whenever there is no gravity, there is no question of center of gravity. Only center of mass exists there. Okay. At that point, that means in that case also, center of mass, center of gravity both are at the same point we can take. Center of gravity means whenever there is no gravitational force, if we apply the external force on a body, on each and every particle such force acts. So the resultant force acts on the entire body passing through certain point, which is called center of gravity. So in case of a uniform forces acts on each and every particle, then in such case center of gravity and center of mass both lies. Center of mass and center of gravity both lies. Okay. In uniform gravitational field means the region where acceleration due to gravity remains the same on each and every particle in a body. In such case, the center of mass and center of gravity both lies at the same point. That means they are coincided. They are coincided. Okay. Next. Center of mass related to here. Center of mass refers to center of mass depends on the mass. That's why center of mass refers to mass of the particles. Mass of particles. Center of gravity that depends on the center of gravity that refers to weight of the particles. Refers to weight of the particles. The position of center of gravity depends on the weight of the particles in a body. It refers to weight of particles. Weight of the particles. Okay. Next, position of center of mass does not depend on the coordinate system. Last point. Position of center of mass. Position of center of mass does not depend on the coordinate system. Suppose here this is a body. It is a coordinate system. Here, if the coordinate system is changed, then the position of center of mass of the body with respect to body, the position of center of mass with respect to body does not change. That remains constant. That's why position of center of mass does not depend on the coordinate system or frame of reference, or it is independent on frame of reference. Position of center of mass independent on frame of reference. Any frame of reference. Frame of reference. Already you know inertial and non-inertial frame of reference. So position of the center of mass does not depend on the frame of reference, or it is independent on frame of reference. Even if change the coordinate system or frame of reference, the position of center of mass with respect to body does not alter. Okay. Center of mass refers to mass of the particles means the position of center of mass depends on the distribution of mass or different mass of the different particles in the body. That's why we can say the center of mass position refers to the mass of the particles. Center of gravity refers to the weight of the particles. Okay. Next. Next point. Next 12th point, I think. Suppose here there is a rod. This rod balances about the tip of the nail at this point. It is the position of the, no doubt, it is the position of the center of mass. It is the position of center of mass. It is the position of center of mass. Here about the center of mass, whenever the rod is balanced, then you see, suppose there are few particles, number of particles are there like this. The weight of this particle acts in this direction, weight of this particle acts in this direction, weight of this particle acts in this direction. Similarly, the weight of different particles acts in this direction like this. Okay. If the torque acts on this particle about this point, try to rotate this particle in this direction. Similarly, on left side of the center of mass, the torque acts on all the particles, try to rotate the body in anti-clockwise direction. The torque, this is called torque or moment of weight of the particle. weight m1 mg into perpendicular distance, that is called arc or moment of weight of this particle about the center of mass. So the moment of weight or arcs of these particles about the center of mass try to rotate the body in anti-clockwise direction. The torque or moment of weight of these particles try to rotate the body in clockwise direction about the center of mass. So the sum of moments of weights of all the particles in the body about the center of mass, that becomes zero, no? Because about the center of mass, when you consider the moment of weights of all the particles, or torque acts on the all the particles about the center of mass, but that becomes zero. Because of that only it is under equilibrium. That's why moment of weights of all the particles in a body about the center of mass is zero. Or the algebraic sum of moments of weights of all the particles about the center of mass is zero. Algebraic sum of, it's very, very important point. Algebraic sum of moments of weight, moments of weight, that means torques, moments of weight, in brackets, torque due to weight, torque due to weight. Moments, the sum, algebraic sum of moments of weights of all particles in a system or in a body, in a system about center of mass is zero, because the algebraic sum of moments of weights of all the particles in the system about the center of mass is zero. Because of that only the rod is horizontal. Otherwise, if algebraic sum of the moments of weights is not equal to zero, suppose the moments of weights of all these particles is more than this one, then it comes like this. If it is more, it comes like this. As both are equal, the net torque acts on the rod about this point, or algebraic sum of all the torques or moments of weights of all the particles about the center of mass is zero. The particle neither falls like this, nor falls like this. That's why it is under equilibrium. So this is also one important point. Okay, last point here. Okay, already I said no, m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2 I said. Okay, these are the some important characteristics of the center of mass. Based on these characteristics, we have to derive the different formulas, okay, for finding the center of mass. And in mains also asked based on this concept. Okay, now we will discuss some applications. Next, coordinates of center of mass. Coordinates of center of mass. Coordinates of center of mass. Okay. So here you see, suppose in a coordinate system, there are two particles are there. One particle is here, another particle is here. Or you take on the x-axis, you take the two particles on x-axis. Suppose on x-axis, in a system there are two particles which lies on x-axis, having masses m1 and m2. The distance between the two particles is say r. There are two particles having masses m1, m2 lies on x-axis, separated by a distance smaller. Lies on x-axis separated by distance smaller. Where the center of mass of these two particles lies? In case of two particles, center of mass lies always on the line joining the two particles. The center of mass of the two particles always lies on the line joining the two particles. Okay, the line joining the two particles is this one. That's why center of mass lies somewhere here. Okay, suppose the center of mass lies. Suppose the center of mass lies from the first particle, the center of mass of the system of two particles lies at a distance say r1. The center of mass of the two particle system lies at a distance r2 from the second particle of mass m2. R2. Now, suppose the first particle, x coordinate of the first particle is say x1, second particle is say x2. That means what does it mean? The x coordinate of the first particle is x1 means from the origin first particle is at a distance x1. The coordinate of the position of the second particle along x-axis from the origin means that is say x2. Of course, every coordinate is measured with respect to origin only. The x coordinate of the second particle is x2, means the distance of the second particle from the origin along x-axis is x2. Okay, how does the central mass lies? The distance between the two particles is r, and the distance of the central mass from the first particle is r1, from the second particle it is r2. The x coordinate of central mass is say xcm. X coordinate of central mass means the distance of the central mass of the two particle system from the origin is say xcm. Okay, now suppose if the distance of central mass from the first particle is r1, from the second particle it is r2. What is the condition for central mass of the two particle system? What is the condition for central mass of the two particle system? The central mass always lies on the line joining the two particles at a position such that it follows the condition m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. I said now already, m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. That is very important point. Okay, so central mass of the two particle system always lies such that m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Here r1 r2 are the distance of the central mass from the first particle and second particle. Okay, but we are not given r1 r2. Even we are not given r also. Suppose if you are given r, then r1 is equal to, how we can write what is the distance of central mass from the first particle, means r1 is equal to m2 by m1 plus m2 into r. R2 is equal to m1 into r by m1 plus m2. We can write like this, but r is not given. But we know the condition for central mass, so that it lies at a point such that m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. The coordinates of the two particles are given. What is the x coordinate of central mass? They asked. That means xcm they asked. So we can find x coordinate of the central mass. So here you see m1 you keep like this only. From the diagram, how we can write r1 in terms of coordinates? Tell me. From the diagram, how we can write r1 in terms of coordinates? Tell me. From the diagram, how we can write r1 in terms of x coordinates? xcm minus x1, no? Because this distance is equal to x1 xcm. From that you subtract x1, then that is the r1, no? That's why m1 into, we can write xcm minus r1 x1 is equal to m2 into, how we can write r2? From the diagram, how we can write r2? R2, how we can write in terms of x coordinates? From this up to this it is x2. From this you subtract xcm, then that is r2, no? That's why r2 can be written as x2 minus xcm. Now we are given x coordinate of this first particle, x coordinate of the second particle. x1, x2 are given. xcm we have to find. What is the x coordinate of central mass? We have to find. That's why xcm is called something we have to write from this. So first you multiply them. m1 xcm minus m1 x1 is equal to m2 x2 minus m2 xcm. You bring this minus m2 xcm to left and m1 x1 to right. Then m2 xcm, when you bring to left, you take xcm common. Then xcm of m1 plus m2 you will get. You bring this to right. Then m1 x1 plus m2 x2 you will get. Therefore, xcm is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 whole by m1 plus m2. This is the x coordinate of the center of mass. So when the two particles in a system lies on x-axis, then the central mass, the two particles are having x coordinates only, and central mass is also having x coordinates only. Central mass is also having x coordinate. The two particles lies in a plane. In plane. Suppose the x coordinates and y coordinates of the two particles are x1 y1 x2 y2. Then x coordinate of central mass is this only, and y coordinate of central mass like this only we have to write. Similarly, ycm is equal to m1 y1 plus m2 y2 by m1 plus m2. Similarly, in a space, if the system of two particles lies in a space, every particle is having three coordinates x1, y1 and z1. Similarly, x2, y2, z2. In such case, the z coordinate of central mass xcm is equal to, we can write m1 z1 plus m2 z2 by m1 plus m2. It is the case for two particle system. Suppose if the system consists of number of particles, then xcm is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 and so on by m1 plus m2 plus m3 and so on. ycm is equal to m1 y1 plus m2 y2 plus m3 y3 and so on by m1 plus m2 plus m3 and so on. Similarly, zcm. So these are the x, y, z coordinates of the central mass. In this way, we have to find. Okay, here once in mains they asked in carbon monoxide molecule. One example I want to say. These are the coordinates of the central mass. One example I want to say. Here, carbon monoxide molecule is given. Of course, carbon monoxide means mass number is 12. Here it is 16 atomic mass units. You know. Okay. These two are separated by a distance smaller. In case of carbon monoxide molecule, CO means carbon monoxide only, no? CO means carbon monoxide only, no? Is it correct or not? Okay. So, in case of carbon monoxide molecule, the distance here, the mass of the carbon atom, oxygen atom, we know. Because in case of carbon atom, C612 means mass number is M1 is equal to C612, 12 AMU. Here mass number or mass M2 is equal to O816 means 16 AMU. So this mass is known, this mass is known. Both are separated by some distance R. That is equal to 10 angstroms they may give. 10 angstroms. 1 angstrom is equal to 10 to the power of minus 10 meter. That will be given. Then where the central mass of these two particles in the carbon monoxide molecule, where the central mass of this carbon monoxide molecule lies with respect to carbon atom or relative to carbon atom, they may ask. Relative to carbon atom means carbon atom నుంచి central mass of the system ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది అంటాడు. ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడో ఉందనుకున్నాం, ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడో ఉందనుకున్నాం central mass. అప్పుడు ఈ ఫస్ట్ పార్ట్ అనుకోండి, దీని యొక్క మాస్ m1, m1 అంటే ఇక్కడ 12 AMU అని రాసుకోవచ్చు. అట్లాగే దీని యొక్క మాస్ m2 is equal to O816 కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ 16 రాసుకోవచ్చు, 16 AMU. ఇక్కడ m1 is equal to 12 AMU, m2 is equal to 16 AMU we can take. ఓకే, ఈ రెండు ఆటమ్స్ మధ్య డిస్టెన్స్ వాడు ఇచ్చాడు, r అని ఇచ్చాడు. then what is the distance of central mass of the carbon monoxide molecule relative to carbon atom అన్నాడు. అంటే కార్బన్ ఆటం నుంచి central mass ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది, ఆ డిస్టెన్స్ r1, అది ఎంత, దట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు క్వశ్చన్. లేదు relative to oxygen atom where the central mass lies, అంటే ఈ డిస్టెన్స్ r2 ఎంత. ఆల్రెడీ r1 ఫార్ములా ఇందాక రాసామండి, r1 is equal to m2r by m1 plus m2, డైరెక్ట్ గా ఈ ఫార్ములా రాసుకోవచ్చు. లేదు relative to carbon atom where the central mass lies అన్నప్పుడు ఒకసారి చూడండి, ఇది మెథడ్ 1, మెథడ్ 2. From the carbon atom where the central mass lies అన్నాడు కాబట్టి from which point they asked the central mass of the two particles in carbon monoxide molecule, you take that point as the origin. Relative to carbon central mass ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది అన్నాడు కాబట్టి కార్బన్ ఆటమ్ ని ఆరిజిన్ దగ్గర ఉన్నట్టుగా ట్రీట్ చేయండి. అప్పుడు ఈ x కోఆర్డినేట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ కార్బన్ ఆటమ్ x1 = 0 నేగా. తర్వాత దీని x కోఆర్డినేట్ x2 = ఈ రెండింటి మధ్య డిస్టెన్స్ r అనుకోండి. then from this origin the second particle or oxygen atom is at a distance r from the origin కదా, కాబట్టి x2 = r గా అయ్యేది. ఓకే, ఈ రెండు పార్టికల్స్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ డెఫినెట్లీ గా ఈ రెండు పార్టికల్స్ ని జాయిన్ చేసే లైన్ మీద ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది. దానికి x కోఆర్డినేట్ అంటే ఈ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఆరిజిన్ దగ్గర నుంచి ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుందో ఆ డిస్టెన్స్ కి xcm అంటే దట్ ఈస్ ద డిస్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఫ్రమ్ ది కార్బన్ ఆటమ్. అవునా, ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఫార్ములా అప్లై చేసేయండి. ఎందుకంటే ఈ టూ పార్టికల్స్ కాబట్టి ఇవి x యాక్సిస్ మీద ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి వీళ్ళకి ఓన్లీ x కోఆర్డినేట్ ఉంటుంది. అప్పుడు xcm = ఎంత అవుతుంది చూడండి, xcm = జనరల్ ఫార్ములా ఇది m1 x1 plus m2 x2 by m1 plus m2, ఇది జనరల్ ఫార్ములా. సో xcm = కానీ m1 అంటే మాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ కార్బన్ ఆటమ్, x1 0 కాబట్టి 0 అయిపోతుంది, ప్లస్ m2 అంటే మాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ పార్టికల్, ఇది మాస్ m1 అనుకోండి, ఇక్కడ m2 అనుకోండి, m2 ఇంటూ x2 అంటే దీనికి x కోఆర్డినేట్ అంటే r కదా, r by m1 plus m2. therefore x కోఆర్డినేట్ ఆఫ్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ అంటే డిస్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఫ్రమ్ ది కార్బన్ ఆటమ్ అనే కదా, ఇదే వచ్చింది మనకి. అంటే మీరు ఈ ఫార్ములా ఈ కేసులో ఇదే వస్తుంది, m1r1 = m2r2 కండిషన్ ఉపయోగించినా కూడా ఇదే మనకి ఇదే వాల్యూ వస్తుంది, వాల్యూ చేంజ్ కాదు. from which point they asked the position of the central mass, you take that point at the origin and you write the coordinates for the other particles. Then by using these formulas we can write the coordinates of the center of mass. I will explain one more example also. Long back, these are asked in mains. Second one, suppose there are 4 particles in a system lies at the corners of the light square frame. Here are 4 particles and M1, M2, M3, M4, M1, M2, M3, M4. These particles lies at the 4 corners of the light square frame. A square frame एक mass negligible. Side A and side A and then what are the, suppose M1 mass is at the origin, M1 mass is at the origin and M4 mass is on x-axis అని ఇచ్చాడు. అంటే M4 mass ఏమో x-axis మీద ఉంది అన్నాడు. M4 mass lies on x-axis and M1 mass lies at the origin అన్నాడు. ఈ పార్టికల్స్ అన్ని కూడా at the 4 corners of the center, 4 corners of the square frame అన్నాడు. దాంట్లో M1 mass ఏమో origin దగ్గర ఉంది అన్నాడు. M2 mass ఏమో x-axis మీద ఉంది. M4 mass ఏమో x-axis మీద ఉంది అన్నాడు. అప్పుడు డెఫినెట్లీ y-axis అవుతుంది కదా. ఇది y-axis. ఇచ్చిన మాసెస్ మనం ఒకే ఆర్డర్ లో తీసుకోవాలి. క్లాక్ వైజ్ డైరెక్షన్ ఇట్లా M1, M2, M3 అన్నప్పుడు M1 ఆరిజిన్, M2 ఇక్కడ, M3 ఇక్కడ, M4 ఇక్కడ. అంతేగాని M1 ఇక్కడ, M2 ఇక్కడ, M3 ఇక్కడ అట్లా డిజార్డర్ లో తీసుకోకూడదు. either in this order or in this order, ఒకే ఆర్డర్ లో తీసుకోవాలి. When unless they mention properly like this. ఇక్కడ మెన్షన్ చేశాడు fourth part is on x axis, first part is at the origin అని ఇచ్చాడు. అప్పుడు సెంట్రల్ మాస్ యొక్క కోఆర్డినేట్స్ అంటాడు. సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడ ఉందనుకుందాం. దానికి కోఆర్డినేట్స్ అంటే xcm, ycm. ఆ కోఆర్డినేట్స్ ఏంటన్నాడు. అప్పుడు ఈ 4 పార్టికల్స్ ఈ కోఆర్డినేట్స్ రాసాను. as this first particle lies at the origin, coordinates are 0, 0. Second particle ఇక్కడ ఉంది. what are the coordinates of this second particle? Tell me. Coordinates of the second particle. Is the audio is properly reaches you or not? You mentioned the chat box. Okay. Here the coordinates of this particle means as this particle lies on y-axis, x coordinate is 0, and along y-axis at what distance this particle lies? As the side of the square is a. That's why from the origin this particle is at a distance a along y-axis. No, that's why y coordinate is a. What about these coordinates? What about these coordinates? Very good. What about the coordinates of the fourth particle? A. Very good. Is it A? What is the coordinates of this fourth particle M4? As it is on x-axis, y coordinate is 0. Along x-axis, it is at a distance equal to side of the square. That's why A, 0. Now we have the coordinates of all the particles. Therefore, by using the previous formula, xcm is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus m, because 4 particles are there. m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus m4 x4 whole by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4. Similarly, ycm, zcm. Instead of writing m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus m4 x4, we can write simply mx. Instead of writing m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4 like that, simply write sigma m. That's all. Sigma m from is equal to 1 to 4 particles are there. That means m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus m4 y x4 as 4 particles are there. Similarly here also. Similarly, ycm. Ycm is equal to sigma my by sigma m. Zcm sigma mz by sigma m. These are the coordinates of the center of mass. These are the coordinates of center of mass. What, Jashwant? What is your doubt? In case of 3-dimensional diagram, suppose these particles are having 3-dimensional. Whenever these particles lies in the space, then all the particles are having 3 coordinates. Every position of every particle is represented with 3 coordinates. If it is at origin 0, 0, 0. If it is in the space, then it is having x, y, z coordinates. X, y, z coordinates. Similarly, all particles are having 3 coordinates. 2 coordinates can be obtained like this. Third coordinate, Zcm is equal to sigma mz by sigma m. That means m1 z1 plus m2 z2 plus m3 z3 plus m4 z4 whole by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4. In such a way we can find. Okay, Jashwant Verma, Okay, right. Next. Suppose one more example 3. On x-axis, different particles having different masses are kept. Infinite number of particles are kept like that. Here it is the origin. At x is equal to 1 meter, one particle having mass m is kept. At x is equal to 2 meter, x is equal to, suppose it is a L. At x is equal to L, a particle of mass m is kept. At x is equal to L, a particle of mass 2m is kept. 3L, 3m mass is kept. At x is equal to 4L, 4m mass is kept. In this way, n particles are kept. In this way, n particles are kept. Last one, last particle is, nth particle is kept at a distance nl having mass n into m. Then here x coordinate of this part, as all particles lies on x-axis, all these particles are having only x coordinates. From the origin, this particle is at a distance L, means x coordinate of this particle is L, by x coordinate of this particle is 2L, 3L, 4L, like this. Okay, now where the central mass of the system of all particles lies, or what is the x coordinate of central mass of the system of all particles? Suppose the central mass of the system of all particles lies somewhere here. Then the distance x coordinate of the central mass means the distance of central mass from the origin. That is called x coordinate of central mass. That is how much it is the case. What is the general formula? You tell me. Xm is equal to sigma mx by sigma m. No, sigma mx means m1 is mass of this particle into distance x coordinate of this particle from the origin. That means L, plus a second particle mass 2m into x coordinate of this particle 2l, plus 3m into 3l, plus and so on, nm into nl, whole by total mass of all particles m plus 2m plus 3m and so on, m plus 2m plus 3m plus and so on, nm. So this is equal to, in the numerator we can take ml common in all terms. You take ml common, then what you will get? Here 1 is there, plus 2 square is here, plus 3 square is there, and so on, n square. Of course, here we can write 1 square, whole by, in the denominator, m you take common, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus and so on, n. Mm cancel. So xcm is equal to L into, here sum of the squares of n terms. Already in basic mathematics I said, sum of the squares of n terms gives what? N into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1, n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. Very good. So here this can be written as n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 whole by 6 by 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus and so on n. In the denominator, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus and so on n. N into n plus 1 by 2, no? N into n plus 1 by 2 means into 2. Okay. Here n into n plus 1, n into n plus 1 can be cancelled. Okay. 2 3s are. Therefore, x coordinate of central mass of that system is equal to L into 2n plus 1 by 3, no? L into 2n plus 1, L into 2n plus 1 by 3. So that is the answer. Okay. Next. Okay. Shall I erase? L into 2n plus 1 by 3, no? Suman. Sorry. Bhuvan. 2n plus 1 into L by 3, no? Xm is equal to L into 2n plus 1 by 3. Okay, right. Next, one more example. Suppose there is a symmetrical mass, uniform mass distribution is there. Like, suppose we are given E-shaped body like this. Here, there are E-shaped metal plate is there. E-shaped metal plate. All sides are having same width. Like this. Okay. Suppose this corner is at the origin. This side is along x-axis. This side is along y-axis. Once long back in advance it is given. It is simple problem. The width of this side is given. Suppose here the width of each side, that is A. This is B. Of course, this is A. This is B1. It is 4A. We are given, you see, E-shaped metal plate is given having uniform mass distribution. Uniform mass distribution. Uniform mass distribution. All this E-shaped plate is having uniform mass distribution. Okay. It is fourth node point. Okay, whatever the number. Fourth node point. Okay, I will write 4. Okay, here it is the E-shaped metal plate having uniform mass distribution. This E-shaped plate can be imagined as a combination of 4 rectangular plates. No, it is one rectangular plate. It is another rectangular plate. It is one rectangular plate like this. No, it is a combination of 4 rectangular plates. Rectangular plate having uniform mass distribution means that is the regular shaped body. In case of regular shaped bodies, where the center mass lies, it lies at the center of symmetry or geometric center. No, it lies at the center mass of the center mass lies at the center of symmetry or geometric center. So in case of this plate, the center mass of this plate lies exactly at the midpoint of the plate. Here, this is a M1. The center mass of this rectangular plate lies exactly at the midpoint. That is a where the center mass is there. At that point, the total mass of this plate lies. That is M1. Here, this is a M2. The center mass lies here. It is center mass. No, of course, center mass of the plate it is. Here, at the center mass, the mass of this plate lies. Here, for this plate, center mass lies exactly at the midpoint where M4 mass is there. What are the coordinates of center mass of E-shaped plate? They asked. That means axiom, YCM. They asked. Axiom, YCM. In order to write the axiom, YCM values, we have to know the coordinates of here. As the center mass of this plate lies at this point, then you forget the entire plate. At the center mass of this plate, just imagine the mass of the entire plate here, and you forget the diagram. Just here you can imagine there is a point mass having mass M1. Here M2 mass is there, M3 mass is there, M4 mass are there. So what are the x coordinates and y coordinates for this? What are the x coordinates of this particle? Tell me. X coordinate of this particle means along x-axis, as it is B. This distance is B by 2. Because center mass of this plate lies exactly at the midpoint. Okay, that's why this distance is B by 2. This is A. So A plus B by 2. That is the x coordinate of this particle. A plus B by 2. What is the y coordinate? along y-axis from the origin, along y-axis the central mass lies exactly at this distance, which is equal to half of a. That means a by 2. In this way, for all points you write the coordinates. For this particle, along x-axis, this particle is at a distance a by 2. The central mass lies at a distance a by 2. Along y-axis, as you see, it is 4a. It is a, no? Width is a only. For all, width is a only. Okay. So it is 4a plus it is a by 2. It is 4a and it is a by 2. So you see, sorry, it is 4a and it is a, 9a. So this total distance is 9a. Exactly at the midpoint, central mass lies means 9a by 2. 9a by 2. It is the y coordinate of central mass. Next, for this you tell me, what about the coordinates of central mass? Okay, this is b1. So from this, central mass is at a distance b1 by 2. From origin, a plus b1 by 2. A plus b1 by 2, comma. Along y-axis at what distance it lies? Along y-axis you see exactly here as it is symmetric. As it is symmetric, exactly at what distance central mass of this plate lies? Central mass of this along y-axis, this central mass of also at the same height. So this distance is equal to this one. That's why this distance is 9a by 2. So 9a by 2. Next part is, you see, along this direction, if this length is equal to same as this one, b. So central mass lies at a distance b by 2 from this point. It is a plus b by 2. Okay. Along y-axis where the central mass lies, we see this is 4a plus it is a by 2. It is 4a plus it is a by 2. That means, sorry, is it correct? It is 5a by 2 only, no? It is not 9a by 2. You see, this total length is 5a. In that half, that means 5a by 2. Here also 5a by 2. Here also 5a by 2. Okay. Now, what is the distance of this central mass of the plate along y-axis? It is 4a plus it is a by 2. 4a plus a by 2 means 4a plus a by 2, 9a by 2. So, y coordinate is 9a by 2. So, in this way, for 4 plates, coordinates of 4 plates are considered. Then what about xm, ycm? General formulas are there, no? Xm is equal to sigma mx by sigma m. Ycm is equal to sigma my by sigma m. By using these formulas, we can find the. By using these formulas, we can derive the. We can have the central mass coordinates. Okay. Right. Next. Next, in case of non-uniform distribution, fifth one. In case of bodies having non-uniform distribution of mass, in case of bodies having non-uniform distribution of mass, suppose there is a rod. Very, very important point. It was frequent. Based on this concept, frequently they are asking the central mass concept. Here, this is the rod having non-uniform distribution of mass. Linear mass density of the rod. Linear mass density. That means mass per unit length. Linear mass density of rod varies with the distance from the one end. From this end. Suppose this end is at 0, this end is say A. Then from this first end, this linear mass density varies with the distance x. According to the equation A plus bx. AB are constants. If x increases, linear mass density also increases. Let x is equal to 0, linear mass density is equal to A only because x is 0. So in this way, linear mass density increases with x according to the equation like this. Of course, it may be ax square plus bx or ax cube plus bx square like that. It may be like that. So linear mass density is not constant. That means when you move from this end to this end, the mass gradually increases. That means it is a body having non-uniform distribution. Okay. For M2, 5a by 2. Already I wrote no 5a by 2. I corrected this one. 5a by 2. Okay, corrected. Right. In this case, how we can find the center of mass? In case of continuous mass distribution of the bodies, and a mass continuously distribute in the in such case, x coordinate of center of mass xm is equal to మనం జనరల్ గా సిగ్మా mx by సిగ్మా m రాస్తాం కదా. అయితే కంటిన్యూస్ మాస్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఒక స్మాల్ ఎలిమెంట్ కన్సిడర్ చేయండి. ఎట్ ఎ డిస్టెన్స్ x యు కన్సిడర్ స్మాల్ ఎలిమెంట్ హ్యావింగ్ లెంగ్త్ సే dx. ఎందుకంటే ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ యొక్క లెంగ్త్ అలాంగ్ x యాక్సిస్ ఉంది కాబట్టి దీని యొక్క లెంగ్త్ ని dx గా ట్రీట్ చేయండి. దట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఇస్ ఎట్ ఎ డిస్టెన్స్ x. అయితే మనం x కోఆర్డినేట్ ఆఫ్ సెంటర్ ఆఫ్ మాస్ రాయాలంటే ఏం రాస్తాం? సిగ్మా m into x by సిగ్మా m అని రాస్తాం కదా. సిగ్మా m into x అని రాసేటప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఏం పార్టికల్స్ కాదు కాబట్టి సిగ్మా dm into x అని రాయాలి. సిగ్మా dm into x. అయితే కంటిన్యూస్ మాస్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అప్పుడు మనం సిగ్మా రాయకూడదు. ఇక్కడ డిఫరెంట్ పార్టికల్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, m1 m2 m3 అట్లా ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, సిగ్మా mx అని రాస్తాం. కానీ కంటిన్యూస్ మాస్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అప్పుడు మాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఇంటూ డిస్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ ది ఆరిజిన్ అంటే x అట్లా రాసి ఇంటిగ్రల్ రాయాలి. సిగ్మా రాయకూడదు. ఇక్కడ కంటిన్యూస్ మాస్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అప్పుడు ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ రాయాలి. Sigma dm into x limits equality. This type of elements can be imagined from x is equal to 0 to x equal to 0 to suppose the length of the rod is say L. X is equal to 0 to L. This dm into x and sigma instead of sigma dmx we can write like this. We can write like this. By total mass of the entire rod అంటే mass of one element dm అయితే ఇటువంటి నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడ దాకా డివైడ్ చేసి వాటన్నిటిని యాడ్ చేయాలి. యాడ్ చేసి వచ్చే టోటల్ మాస్ అని ఇంటిగ్రల్ dm రాస్తాం. x is equal to 0 to L. This is equal to, now you tell me what about dm? Mass of this element అంటే ఎంత? ఇక్కడ lambda అంటే mass per unit length. Unit length కి ఎంత మాస్ ఉంటే what is the mass for this much length of the element? అంటే lambda into dx ఏగా. Lambda into dx by integral dm lambda into dx into x ఉంది కాబట్టి into x. Here in the denominator integral dm అంటే lambda into dx. Limits x is equal to 0 to L, here also x is equal to 0 to L. Therefore, xcm is equal to integral lambda అంటే we can write a plus bx into x ఇక్కడ రాయండి into dx by integral lambda అంటే a plus bx into dx. Lambda means a plus dx into dx ఉంది కాబట్టి dx. Okay, limits x is equal to 0 to L. Here also x equal to 0 to L. Now you substitute the limit. You do integration. Ax dx means ax square by 2 plus dx into x means dx square dx means dx cube by 3. Limits x is equal to 0 to L. Right. Here in the denominator a into dx, x is not there. A into dx. Integral a into dx అంటే a constant you keep aside. Integral dx means x plus integral bx into dx means bx square by 2. Limits x equal 0 to L. Therefore, xcm is equal to, okay, first you substitute upper limit. When you substitute upper limit, a L square by 2 plus b L cube by 3. When you substitute lower limit, this total becomes 0 by in the denominator a L plus b L square by 2. Okay, of course you simplify them, you will get answer. This is the x coordinate of center of mass. In this way we have to do. In this way we have to do. Okay. Yeah, integration. Suppose in basic mathematics, if you do not have awareness about integration, if basic mathematics is not discussed, can we do these problems directly like this? Yeah, for hemisphere, for solid cone, hollow cone, we are having by integration methods only we can find. We will discuss next. In next class, we will discuss. Okay, what is ready? In case of semicircular ring, semicircular disc, where the center of mass lies, for all these we will discuss. Today I don't want to start them because it takes time. Today I have to say number of concepts. That's why I don't want to start now. So this is one application. Once it was previously just 2 years back or 3 years back, based on this concept, problem was asked. So it is very important one. Okay. Next. suppose all of you listen carefully. At the four corners of the light square frame, at four corners of the light square frame, here four identical particles are kept. Identical particles means mass are equal. M, 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 M. This frame is having no mass, negligible mass. Side A. Then where the central mass lies? Where the central mass lies here? Tell me, where the central mass lies? Yeah, you see, central mass of these two particles, as the masses are same, central mass lies exactly at the midpoint of these two particles here. As mass are here also same, central mass lies here, exact midpoint, both coincide. That's why as the identical masses are there, central mass lies exactly at the midpoint of the square frame. That means exactly at this point central mass lies. Okay, at what distance from one corner central mass lies? At what distance from one of the corners central mass lies? Central mass lies here, of course. Here central mass lies. From one corner, at what distance central mass lies means this is the distance now. This is root PA. In that half of this distance means root PA by 2 means A by root 2 no. That's why central mass lies at the half of the distance. Half of this diagonal means A by root 2 on one corner. In this way you can do. But my question is here the four particle system central mass lies exactly at the center of the square. Okay, it's good. Here, whenever the four identical particles are kept at the four corners of the square frame of side A, then central mass lies at the center. If the mass of the two particles lies on one side of the square are tripled. అంటే ఒక స్క్వేర్ యొక్క ఒక సైడ్ యొక్క రెండు ఎండ్స్ దగ్గర ఉన్న మాసెస్ ట్రిపుల్ చేశాడు, అంటే 3 టైమ్స్ చేశాడు. 3 టైమ్స్ చేశాడంటే అడిషనల్ గా ఎంత మాస్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అయినట్లు ఆన్ వన్ సైడ్ at two ends mass of the particles are tripled లేదా డబుల్ ఏదో ఇవ్వచ్చు, ట్రిపుల్డ్ అనుకున్నాం, ట్రిపుల్డ్. and ఇక్కడ mass tripled అయింది కాబట్టి what is the mass present here now? అన్ని ఈక్వల్ మాస్ ఉన్నప్పుడు central mass lies exact at the center or midpoint. Whenever the masses of the two particles lies on one side, at the ends of one side are tripled. What is the mass here now? What is the mass here? 3m. ఇక్కడ కూడా 3m ఉంటుంది. అంటే అడిషనల్ గా ఎంత మాస్ యాడ్ చేసినట్టు? అడిషనల్ గా 2m యాడ్ చేసినట్లేగా 3m అవ్వాలంటే ఇక్కడ కూడా అడిషనల్ గా 2m యాడ్ చేసినట్లేగా, అంటే అడిషనల్ మాస్ యాడెడ్ ఇస్ 2m. ఇప్పుడు ఒకసారి ఎగ్జాక్ట్ ఇక్కడ చూడండి, వాడు ఎట్లానా ఇవ్వనండి దీన్ని టూ పార్టికల్ సిస్టమ్ గా కన్వర్ట్ చేసేద్దాం. As the four particles are having same masses mmms, the central mass lies exactly at the center. At that point we can imagine 4m, because according to the fundamental definition of the central mass only, the point where the total mass of the system is supposed to be concentrated is called central mass. At the central mass, total mass of the system can be imagined. కాబట్టి ఈ 4 particles యొక్క central mass ఇక్కడ ఉంది కాబట్టి అక్కడ 4m ఉన్నట్లుగా ఇమాజిన్ చేయండి. నెక్స్ట్ ఇక్కడ అడిషనల్ గా యాడ్ చేసిన మాసెస్ ఇవే కదా, 2m. వాటి యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ మిడ్ పాయింట్ దగ్గర ఇక్కడే ఉండేది. ఇది 2m టు మీ అడిషనల్ మాసెస్ 2m and 2m, సెంట్రల్ మాస్ లైస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ అట్ ద మిడ్ పాయింట్ అంటే ఇక్కడ ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, ఈ పాయింట్ దగ్గర ఎగ్జాక్ట్ ఇదే లైన్ మీద ఇక్కడ తీసుకోండి. ఫర్ అడిషనల్ మాసెస్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ లైస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ అట్ ద మిడ్ పాయింట్. ఇక్కడ మిడ్ పాయింట్ దగ్గర ఉంది అంటే ఇక్కడ ఎంత మాస్ ఉన్నట్టు టోటల్ గా? వాట్ ఇస్ ద మాస్ ప్రెజెంట్ హియర్? ఎంత మాస్ ఉన్నట్టు? 4m కదా. ఇక్కడ అడిషనల్ గా యాడ్ చేసిన మాసెస్ ఇక్కడ 2m కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ 4m ఉన్నట్టుగా తీసుకోండి. సో ఇక్కడ 4m మాస్ ఉన్నట్టుగా తీసుకున్నాం. నౌ ఈ ఫర్గెట్ ఎంటైర్ డయాగ్రామ్. ఇప్పుడు ఈ 4 పార్టికల్స్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది కాబట్టి 4m ఇక్కడ తీసుకున్నాం. అడిషనల్ గా యాడ్ చేసిన మాసెస్ 2m కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ వాటి యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ 2m + 2m 4m మాస్ ఉన్నట్టుగా తీసుకున్నాం. నౌ ఈ ఫర్గెట్ ద డయాగ్రామ్. హియర్ ద సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ టూ పార్టికల్ సిస్టమ్ లైస్. ఈ రెండు పార్టికల్స్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది? ఇనిషియల్ గా ఈ 4 పార్టికల్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు సెంట్రల్ మాస్ xcm ఇక్కడ ఉంది అనుకున్నాం. ఓకే, తర్వాత ఈ 4 పార్టికల్స్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది. ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఈ 2m అడిషనల్ గా యాడ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏర్పడే సిస్టమ్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది అంటాడు. అంటే ఈ సిస్టమ్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఈ రెండింటి యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎక్కడైతే ఉంటుందో అక్కడ సిస్టమ్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఉంటుంది. అది ఎక్సిఎం అనుకోండి. ఎక్సిఎం లేదా ఆర్సిఎం అనుకోండి. ఆర్సిఎం సిఎం అని ఇక్కడ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఉంది. ఈ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఒరిజినల్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ నుంచి అంటే బిఫోర్ దీస్ మాసెస్ ఆర్ యాడెడ్ ఒరిజినల్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది 4 పార్టికల్స్ లైస్ హియర్. కాబట్టి ఒరిజినల్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ నుంచి ఈ సిస్టమ్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ అంటే మాసెస్ ని యాడ్ చేసిన తర్వాత సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఏదైతుందో అది ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది ఆ డిస్టెన్స్ ఎక్సిఎం లేదా డెల్టా ఎక్సిఎం లేదా డెల్టా ఆర్సిఎం. ఇవ్వండి డెల్టా ఆర్సిఎం. డెల్టా ఆర్సిఎం అది ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది. ఇక్కడ 4m ఇక్కడ 4m కాబట్టి డెఫినెట్లీ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ లైస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ ఎట్ ద మిడ్ పాయింట్. మిడ్ పాయింట్ అంటే మరి ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఎంత డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది. ఈ మొత్తం డిస్టెన్స్ ఎంత. ఇది a కాబట్టి ఇది a/2. ఈ డిస్టెన్స్ a/2 కదా. ఈ మొత్తం డిస్టెన్స్ a/2. దాంట్లో సగమే ఎందుకంటే ఈ మాస్ సేమే కాబట్టి సగం డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది. అంటే a/2/2 అంటే a/4 కదా. కాబట్టి a/4 అంటే whenever the masses at the two corners of one of the sides are tripled, then the central mass shifts to this point to a distance equal to a/4 from the original. కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ వాడు ఏమన్నా అడుగుతా అంటే షిఫ్ట్ ఇన్ ద సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎంత అంటాడు. షిఫ్ట్ ఇన్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ దట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు డెల్టా ఆర్సిఎం దట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు a/4. దిస్ ఇస్ ద షిఫ్ట్ ఇన్ ద సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎంత అంటాడు. whenever additional mass the masses at two ends of the one of the sides are tripled, then what is the shift in central mass. ఒరిజినల్ సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇది. ఇక్కడ మాసెస్ ని ట్రిపుల్ చేయడం వల్ల అంటే అడిషనల్ గా మాసెస్ ని యాడ్ చేయడం వల్ల షిఫ్ట్ ఇన్ ద సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఎంత. అడిషనల్ గా మాసెస్ ని యాడ్ చేయడం వల్ల సిస్టమ్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది కాబట్టి షిఫ్ట్ ఇన్ ద సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఇస్ దిస్ వన్ దట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు a/4. సో a/4 is the answer. In this way we have to do. Okay, in this way we have to do. Okay, next. What is the time now? You mentioned the chat box. Time over. Okay. So based on okay 12:40. 10 minutes more now. 12:40 means 10 minutes more. Yeah, cavity problems. Tomorrow I will explain cavity problems. 12:40 means 10 minutes more. So I will explain. Okay, I will discuss. 10 minutes means we can say some more concepts so that you can do the problems in homework, study hour. Okay. Yes, I will kept in WhatsApp group. 12:50 now, up to 12:50 now class. Up to 12:50 now. Class is up to 12:50. I will keep in WhatsApp group. Total video I will keep in WhatsApp group. Okay. You see. Okay, cutting concept I want to discuss. When some mass is removed, what about the shift in the central mass like that? I will discuss that example. Cutting concept. But before that, sixth note point I think. Sixth note point. Already we know x coordinate of central mass is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 by m1 plus m2. Suppose there are only two particles. Similarly, ycm is equal to m1 y1 plus m2 y2 by m1 plus m2. Suppose we are given in xy plane there are two particles having masses m1 and m2 whose coordinates are x1 comma y1 x2 comma y2. Definitely the central mass of these two particles lies on the line at the middle of the line joining the two particles. No, ఈ రెండు పార్టికల్స్ యొక్క సెంట్రల్ మాస్ ఈ మధ్యలో ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడో ఉంటుంది. మాసెస్ ఈక్వల్ అయితే మిడ్ పాయింట్ అవుతుంది, లేకపోతే వేరే పాయింట్ ఏవో పాయింట్ దగ్గర somewhere else in between the two particles but lies on the line joining central mass lies. Suppose central mass of the system of two particles lies here. The position vector of this particle is say r1 bar. Position vector of second particle is say r2 bar. Position vector of central mass is say rcm bar. Suppose you are given position vector of position vectors of the two particles are given. What is the position vector of the central mass they ask? Position vector of the central mass they ask. Suppose the coordinates of central mass are xcm comma ycm. then the position vector of central mass RCM bar is equal to, we can write, you see, position vector of central mass means x coordinate of central mass xcm into y cap plus y coordinate of central mass ycm into j cap, we can write now. Suppose for this point, if xy coordinates are like this, then what is the position vector of central mass? X coordinate into I cap plus y coordinate into j cap. This is the position vector of central mass. Okay, how we can write xcm? Already we have this formula now. So xcm means we can write m1 x1 plus m2 x2 by m1 plus m2 into I cap plus ycm means m1 y1 plus m2 y2 by m1 plus m2 into j cap. So RCM bar is equal to, you see, m1 x1 into I cap plus m1 y1 into j cap. m1 x1 into I cap plus m1 y1 into j cap. Okay, by m1 plus m2. By m1 plus m2. Because m1 x1 into I cap by m1 plus m2, m1 y1 by m1 plus m2 into j cap. That's why you can write like this. Okay, plus similarly m2 x2 I cap by m1 plus m2 plus m2 y2 j cap by m1 plus m2. So m1 y1 plus m2 y2, m1 y1 I cap plus m2 y2 j cap whole by m1 plus m2. Just I split them. m1 x1 I cap plus m1 y1 j cap by m1 plus m2 plus m2 x2 I cap plus m2 y2 j cap by m1 plus m2. Okay, I have written like this. You take m1 common here. m1 of x1 I cap plus y1 j cap by m1 plus m2. Here here m2 no. Yeah, it is m2. No, m2 x1 no. m2 x1 it is. You see, m2 x2 into I cap plus m2 y2 into j cap by m1 plus m2. m2 it is. So m2 we take common. Then x2 I cap plus y2 j cap by m1 plus m2. Therefore, RCM bar is equal to position vector of central mass is equal to, what about x1 I cap plus y1 j cap? x1 y1 are the position coordinates of the first particle. Then what is the position vector of this particle? x1 I cap plus y1 j cap, no, that is r1 bar. That's why it can be written as r1 bar. So m1 r1 bar by m1 plus m2 plus m2 into, this can be written as r2 bar by m1 plus m2. Therefore, RCM bar is equal to m1 r1 bar plus m2 r2 bar whole by m1 plus m2. If the system consists of number of particles, then if system consists of, system have number of particles, then position vector of central mass RCM bar is equal to, we can write m1 r1 bar plus m2 r2 bar plus m3 r3 bar plus and so on by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus and so on. Sigma m we can write. So this is the position coordinate of the position vector of the central mass. Suppose if you are given position vectors of different particles, then we asked to find the position vector of central mass, then m1 r1 bar plus m2 r2 bar plus m3 r3 bar and so on by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus and so on, that is equal to RCM bar. In this way we can do. Okay. Okay, seventh one. Okay, right, seventh one. Seventh one. So this formula we have to remember. Okay, now eighth one. Velocity of central mass. VCM bar. You see, velocity of central mass is equal to, suppose we are given position vector of central mass, then velocity of central mass means drcm bar by dt. Velocity of the first particle is dr1 bar by dt. Velocity of the second particle v2 bar is equal to dr2 bar by dt. Like that we can write. From this formula, from RCM bar is equal to m1 r1 plus m2 r2 bar plus and so on by m1 plus m2 plus and so on. Here m1 plus m2 plus and so on means mass of the system. No, mass of system capital M is equal to m1 plus m2 plus and so on. Here in the denominator you write capital M. You do cross multiplication. Then capital M into RCM bar is equal to m1 r1 bar plus m2 r2 bar plus and so on. Now differentiate on both sides with time. Then d by dt of m into RCM bar is equal to d by dt of this one. Split term. D by dt of m1 r1 bar plus d by dt of m2 r2 bar plus and so on. Okay. Here m is constant, you keep aside. drcm bar by dt is equal to, here m1 is constant, you keep aside, d by dt of r1 bar, that means dr1 bar by dt plus m2 into dr2 bar by dt plus and so on. M into, what about drcm bar by dt? drcm, okay, I will stop. drcm bar by dt means that is the rate of change in the position vector of center of mass. That gives the velocity of center of mass. That is equal to m1 into velocity of the first particle plus m2 into dr2 bar by dt means velocity of the second particle in vector form and so on. Therefore, velocity of center of mass is equal to this by capital M. So m1 b1 bar plus m2 b2 bar plus and so on by total mass of the system m means m1 plus m2 plus and so on. This is the velocity of center of mass. By doing problems, suppose two particles travel, one particle having mass m1 travel with a velocity v1 and another particle having mass m2 travel with a velocity v2. By substituting this formula, what is the velocity of center of mass if they ask? m1 into v1. v1 is along positive direction, you take plus only, plus v1 only, plus m2 into v2 is in opposite direction. So while substituting the data here, you write minus v2. You substitute them, simplify them, you get velocity of center of mass. In this way, we can find the velocity of center of mass. Okay, and have a nice day. I'm signing out. Today, based on this, we have to do the problems. Tomorrow, I will explain kinematics for center of mass.